This is the Scorecard, where you score the latest sports news and in-depth news. I'm Erika Kristensen. Tonight on the Scorecard.
Everything else in the NBA. Philbrit Marcus Smith remains England's guide in the Rugby Championships. It is Jannik Sinner's year and the changing of the guards continue in tennis. TNT and management coach Chot Reyes brings us more Eureka moments. All that and more on the Scorecard tonight, the 18th of November. Now here's a roundup.
In the NBA, the biggest story today, of course, is how an injury-laden Cleveland Cavaliers outclassed the Charlotte Hornets to become the fourth team to start a season on a 15-0 streak. The first 15-game win streak was actually back in 1948 when the league was still called the Basketball Association of America, and there were only 12 teams playing, by the way. Now, that record stood for 45 years until the Hakeem Olajuwon-led Houston Rockets started and ended the 1993 to 1994 season explosively. The Rockets were obviously champions that season. And yes, when the Golden State Warriors set the 24-0 start back in 2015, the Cleveland Cavaliers rallied from a 1-3 deficit to win the championship in Game 7. The Hornets are now 5-8 after the loss, but had a very controversial weekend. Milwaukee coach Doc Rivers was fined $25,000 by the NBA just this morning for panning the officiating that gave 2 free throws to LaMelo Ball, who simply slipped and fell. If it was ever called a turnover, the Bucks could have converted on the possession and won. Now, the refs agreed with Doc later, but the fine still stands. Now, in that same game, LaMelo was fined $100,000 for an offensive and derogatory comment in the post-game interview. Now, what Ball meant was actually that the Hornets prepared well, but he just had to use no homo to clarify that the first part was not intended to have any sexual connotation. In the meantime, here are the results in today's NBA calendar. The Emirates NBA Cup began last week and will end in December. Now, for those of you guys who don't know, it is an in-tournament event that started just last year and might continue if it brings back the crowds during the regular season. Now, all 30 teams are automatically included in this cup, and they are divided into 6 groups for a single round robin. Now, teams that top each group advance to the next step, but the team with the best record among the others in the conference also join as a wild card. Best record is based on the points spread in its wins and losses. Then the 4 Eastern Conference teams and the 4 Western Conference teams go through the quarters, the semis, and finally the finals in Las Vegas. Now, I'm sure you guys are wondering, that is such a complicated format, but for what? Well, you guys guessed it. Cash. Lots and lots of cash. So just getting to the top 8 means a guaranteed prize of $51,497 per player already. That is a huge amount of cash just by playing. So how are the teams doing, you may ask? Pretty well, or so at least we think. But how are these win-loss records possible when there have been quite a few games already since the NBA Cup began Wednesday last week? Well, not every game day is actually Cup Day, you guys. In fact, the next Cup games after last Saturday's are the 6 games on Wednesday. Moving on, the highly anticipated showdown between boxing legend Iron Mike Tyson and social media star Jake Paul, streamed live on Netflix just last Saturday, turned into a record-breaking spectacle. The event itself garnered an astonishing 250 million viewers, making it one of the most watched boxing events in history. Tyson making a sensational return to the ring after years of retirement, and Paul, whose rise in the boxing world has stirred both excitement and controversy, were both handsomely compensated for their efforts. Paul took home an astonishing $40 million, while Tyson earned around $20 million, still not bad, a figure reflecting not just their fight purses, but a share of the event's record-breaking revenue. Despite the monumental success of the event, netizens were quick to voice their skepticism. Many fans online speculated about the legitimacy of the match, questioning whether the fight had been rigged for entertainment value. Social media reactions ranged from accusations of an orchestrated outcome to doubts about the authenticity of Paul's performance, citing his growing influence in the celebrity boxing scene. Some even suggested that the dramatic nature of the fight, Tyson's emotional return, and Paul's aggressive moves might have been carefully staged to maximize viewer engagement. Nevertheless, though, Tyson's emotional display, coupled with, of course, Paul's aggressive boxing style, made the event a must-watch. It cemented the growing trend of celebrity-driven boxing, breaking streaming records on Netflix and setting the stage for even more high-profile bouts. Now, regardless of these online debates, the fight's global reach and financial success are completely undeniable, reflecting the shifting landscape of modern boxing. Now, while the spotlight was on the Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul spectacle, Filipino veteran Froilan sniper Saludar delivered a masterclass in Dubai, claiming the WBA International Bantamweight title. Facing unbeaten Venezuelan Williams Flores, Saludar showcased precision and composure, defeating his opponent's aggression with sharp counterpunching. Judges scored the fight 115-113, 115-114, and 116-112 in favor of Saludar, marking a triumphant comeback after a challenging start to the year. With his record now at 36 wins with 25 knockouts, 8 losses, and 1 draw, Saludar's win proves he is far from done, adding an exciting twist to the global boxing scene. In rugby, England had a fleeting taste of victory against South Africa with a 22-19 lead after 52 minutes. But Phil Britt fly-half Marcus Smith's penalty was England's only score in the final 53 minutes. The UK press was all agog over Smith leading to the match. England is set to close out the Rugby Championship games against Japan this weekend, and for sure our Marcus will be all out despite England's difficult autumn series. World number 1 Jannik Sinner made history by becoming the first Italian to win the ATP Finals title. Very good. He defeated American Taylor Fritz 6-4, 6-4 this morning Philippine time, remaining undefeated throughout the whole tournament. Sinner earned almost $5 million in prize money after capitalizing on key moments to break Fritz's serve in both sets. The match lasted an hour and 25 minutes. Now, Sinner's fanboys, the Carota Boys of Instagram fame, have more reason to rejoice as the International Tennis Federation announced that the ATP Finals will remain in Italy until 2030.
So I'm very happy to have this trophy. It's tough to say. I mean, it's my goal was to understand what I can achieve. No, this year there was no specific goal of winning a Grand Slam or being number 1 or whatever, and it's gonna be the same next year. I mean, it's we approached this whole year and trying to to raise my level in specific moments, which I've done throughout this year, and I'm very happy about that, because it's a very a nice way to finish off an incredible season. A lot of wins, a lot of titles. Talking in the tennis court, it was something what I was, I didn't put the goals, and I cannot answer you what I have achieved by putting the goals in the beginning of the year. So I'm very happy.
All right, now for our daily dose of sports lingo. We actually hear this often enough, and sahod is actually the local term for a landing spot foul. It is when a player attempting a shot is high up in the air and the defender gets in the way of his or her landing spot, or worse, initiates contact up in the air. Now, when intentional, this has to be classified as a heinous foul. An airborne player has no way to defend him or herself against it. And now for our off-court buzzer. Daniel Ricciardo's exit from Red Bull was kept under wraps at his request. After a disappointing performance in the first qualifying elimination during the Singapore Grand Prix, Red Bull CEO Peter Bayer shared that Ricciardo wanted to continue racing without any distractions. Bayer emphasized the team's support, noting that if Ricciardo had stayed until Abu Dhabi, a farewell celebration in the style of Kimi Raikkonen's, which included a lap of honor, fireworks, and of course a touching team presentation, would have been planned. This shows the immense respect Ricciardo has earned from the team despite his early departure. And that's our roundup for tonight, the 18th of November. When we return, Anton Rojas delivers more words of wisdom from the champion coach himself, Chot Reyes. Don't miss out, so keep it here locked on the scorecard. Want more lessons on how to have a winner's mindset? We've got you guys covered. Here's Anton Rojas with champion coach Chot Reyes.
The next conference, inalis na ng PBA yung height limit. You're still gonna go with Rondae Hollis Jefferson.
Yeah, right now that's our choice because we can't find a really good 6'10", 6'11 guy. What we see some really good 6'8", 6'9 guys, but I said if it's just 6'8", 6'9, then might as well stay with Rondae. With the 2-inch difference, I don't think it's gonna mean much. Of course, if we find a fantastic 6'10", 6'11 player, we'll consider that. But right now, I think also in terms of keeping the chemistry.
If not Rondae, if not lang, Dwight Howard made a lot of viral moments when he said, "Come on, PBA, give me a chance to play." How about a player like that? Is there anybody in mind na dating NBA player who you would like to try?
By the name of DeMarcus Cousins.
Wow.
If we can afford him, why not?
Wow.
But apparently we cannot afford DeMarcus or Dwight or any of these guys.
Wow, that would be crazy having a big name like that in the PBA, Coach. Coach, your Wikipedia page says that you coached Ateneo 1990 to 1992. Is this the Blue Eagles or the Blue Eaglets?
Seniors, Blue Eagles.
Okay.
I was the juniors coach in 85, 86.
Okay.
We won the championship with Danny Francisco, that group. And then 1991, 92, this was after the back-to-back championship of my brother, Jun Reyes, and sila Sep Canlas and Jet Nieto. These were the down years. Ateneo basketball is cyclical. So when I was playing, we were the down years. And then came the Jun Reyes era, was the up years. Then after that, it was down again. And then it went back up with the Norman Black era. And then now we're seeing it's down again. It's ganun talaga yung buhay ng collegiate sports. So I coached in the down year. I think the closest we got was we were a win away from the finals. We lost a close game to, I think, UE to get into the finals. So that was 1991, 92. I was head coach of the Ateneo College team, the seniors, head coach of Burger Machine in it was then called the PABL, and I was assistant of Tim Cone in Alaska. Those 3 years. Yeah.
Did an opportunity ever come, let's say, in the past 10 years to coach in the UAP?
No. I mean, there were whispers and there were kind of feelers, but no real direct offer. Serious offer.
If ever you did coach in the UAP, how would you have adjusted your coaching style to coach like in the modern day UAP setting?
I coach. I like to think that I'm a very agile coach. I pride myself in being very growth-minded. So I'm sure I'm going to adjust to the college game. Whatever it takes, if I'm put in that position, then I'm pretty sure that I can adjust to whatever is required in the college game.
One of the reasons why I threw in that question, Coach, is that aside from Gilas, probably the UAAP, Ateneo, and LaSalle is the most scrutinized basketball team. UAAP, most talked about basketball league in social media, even more so than the PBA. And you, Coach, you're probably one of the most scrutinized sports personalities in Philippine basketball history. One of the most bashed personalities online. How did you develop such thick skin to continue just going and keeping on doing what you do despite all the outside noise?
Well, it's a matter of framing. First of all, I acknowledge it. I don't hide from it. Even in my talks, I start my talks by saying thank you for inviting the most hated man in Philippine basketball. So I don't hide behind it. But you know what I've learned is that there is no real significant success without any real significant adversity. I mean, if you want to go after big successful endeavors, you have to be prepared to accept the failure that comes with it. Unfortunately, here in our local basketball scene, that failure comes with a lot of online bashing. But number one, it doesn't bother me because I don't read it. I'm not on Facebook, I'm not on X. I keep my Instagram account just because of my business, my speaking business, and I'm on LinkedIn. That's it. So you can say everything you want. I'm sorry, it doesn't bother me, doesn't hurt me. But number two, even when people say, oh, coach, sinabi ni ganito, sinabi ganyan, sabi niya, well, I don't care because those people don't matter in my life. I have learned long before to listen only to the people that matter. So those people that they can say what they want, it really doesn't affect me. Unfortunately, it affects some of the other members of my family and my circle. But, you know, I think we've long gone past that because where I am right now and everything that, well, we've achieved some success now on the basketball side, but my business is doing very well. My executive coaching business in CoachCom, our salon, the business with me and my wife, Tony and Guy, we just won Globe International Salon of the Year award.
Congratulations.
Yeah, so that's going very well. Can't complain about my family life. I love my time with my apos, with my 3 grandchildren. So I think all of the negativity and adversity were part of the process of getting to where I am at this point. And finally, my thinking really is, I'm really, how do you call it? I really feel a little sense of pity for those bashers. Because can you imagine a life where you wake up and you want to bash somebody? Anong klaseng buhay yun, di ba? And what is your legacy if you live this life? What is your legacy? Oh, here lies basher. What a pity, right? I mean, I saw my only message to them is get a life. You know, get a life. I don't see any real successful person who bashes others below them. Think about it. Have you encountered any real successful person who has the habit of bashing people underneath them, right? Or even on top of them? Wala. So for me, doesn't bother me.
Coach, your last Instagram post, it was with your grandkids, Coach Josh. The caption read, "The trophy is much appreciated, but we treasure the rewards that matter most." You kind of answered what I wanted to ask, but could you expound on that last IG post?
Because of my age, with all of my experience, positive and negative, I have come to realize to really appreciate what matters most. And for me, what matters most is this, to be able to, like today, I practice, I engage in a daily practice of gratitude. And like to this morning, when I walk outside at 6 in the morning, 6:15, 6:30, I also encounter those who are coming to work. And it's a reminder for me. I'm very grateful that I can wake up in the morning and have my leisurely exercise walk, get the sun, and while the others are coming to work. Me, I have the opportunity. I have the opportunity to use my walks as an exercise, while the others are using the walks to get to work or to make a living. So I'm very grateful for that. That's for me that is what matters now at this stage in my life. To be able to spend time with my grandchildren, to watch my kids being very successful, and more importantly, being happy doing what they're doing right now. All of my 4 kids, knock on wood, I'm really very happy that they are happily doing what it is they love. And that's it. I love the fact that we won because not for me, but really for my players. But in the end, I love to have myself my quiet glass of Malbec at the end of the day. Today, after this, I have a photo shoot, and then I am giving a talk, and then I'm going to end the day with dinner with my wife and have a nice glass of red wine. Tomorrow, early morning, I'll go out, I'll play golf. And that's,
sounds like a great life.
Yeah. So that's, for me, that is what matters most. To be able to do those things and still live my purpose. And my purpose has always been to help develop the next generation of Filipino leaders. So everything that I do, coaching basketball, I am impacting other people, hopefully developing leaders, whether it's a Jason Castro or a Kelly Williams or a Ray Nambata, Calvin Oftana, Roger Pogoy, developing them to be leaders and to be better fathers and men and husbands at the same time, or the executives that I work with, that I coach. So that gives me a strong sense of fulfillment, that what I am doing is providing value to others. So,
Coach, your podcast, Coaching Chronicles, the men and women in the arena. Who is your dream guest for that podcast? Anybody in the world.
Manuel V. Pangilinan. I have to get MVP on my podcast, and wow, I'd love to be able to have Pat Riley as a guest. Any of those coaching grades that I mentioned. Hopefully we can get Spo. I'd love to get Jimmy Alapag because right now it's not as simple. Now you have to go through the Sacramento Kings organization, so it's not as simple as, hey Jim, come in. So hopefully we can get that opportunity.
Coach, for my last question, Theodore Roosevelt, the man in the arena speech. I did my reading on this because you have it on the background of your YouTube channel. That speech was delivered April 23, 1910, more than a century ago. So why does that quote, the speech, resonate so much with you?
Because like the man in the speech, I've been bloodied, covered in dust and sweat, and jeered no end by the spectators. So I relate very much to what Theodore Roosevelt was talking about. That we'd much rather, and I think this goes with all of us, whether in Gilas or athletes or whatever, national athletes, the Filipino athlete especially, where so much is expected of us, but the reality is we receive very little support, right? And then when we do fail, here comes all of the spectators, but still, we would rather have dared and failed greatly rather than just stay on the sidelines. And of course, you're going to come off very clean. You're not going to have any blood or sweat or dust in you, but you never participated, right? So for me, that is not a life worth living. I want to live my life. I want to live my life, and And that includes the scars and injuries and adversities and pain and all of that. But for me, that is life well lived.
Coach, thank you so much for the time. And again, congratulations on all the accolades and achievements. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Huge honor to have Coach Chot Reyes here on the Scorecard on the Bilyonaryo News Channel.
Up next, get ready to parlay. When the Scorecard returns, we will break down the upcoming NBA matchup so you can keep your eyes on the prize. Welcome back to the Scorecard. It is time to keep your eyes on the prize. We'll break down the upcoming matchups to deliver key insights that might just give you the edge that you need to stay ahead of the game. Coming up this Tuesday, November 19, live from Little Caesars Arena in Detroit, Michigan, the Chicago Bulls take on the Detroit Pistons. Tip-off is at 8 a.m. Philippine time. Two teams looking to bounce back meet on the hardwood, and this one promises an intense showdown. Chicago is looking to rebound after a tough 107-143 loss to Houston, where defense and shooting let them down. Zach LaVine led the way with 15 points but got limited support. The Bulls are hoping to turn things around this time, and their favorable matchup history against Detroit could give them the edge. Detroit, on the other hand, however, is on a different trajectory. Coming off a commanding 124-104 win over Washington, the Pistons showcased their growing chemistry. Cade Cunningham posted his fourth triple-double of the season, while Jaden Ivey dropped 28 points. The Pistons have won 3 of their last 5 games and are looking to build on that momentum. For Chicago, Lonzo Ball remains out, leaving a gap in their backcourt rotation. Detroit could be without Tim Hardaway Jr., who is day-to-day, while Ozar Thompson and Bobby Klintman are both ruled out as well. Let's check out the numbers for this matchup between the Bulls and Pistons. Chicago comes in as a slight favorite with a minus 2.5 spread, while on the other hand, Detroit has a plus 2.5 edge on their side. The over-under for this game is set at 220.5 points, a sign that we might see a balanced offensive showdown. And when it comes to the money line, Chicago sits at minus 140 with Detroit at plus 120. Now, it's a tight matchup on paper, as you guys can see, so those key trends could be what decides it. Big question is, can the Bulls shore up their defense, or will the Pistons continue their hot streak? Keep an eye on Cade Cunningham's impact on, and whether Chicago can get stronger contributions from their supporting cast. It's a matchup that could sway the Eastern Conference standings, so trust me when I say you would not want to miss this game. And be sure to keep your eyes on the prize. Now, before we go, think on this. From International Tennis Hall of Fame inductee Stan Smith, when you walk on a court, clear your mind of everything unrelated to the goal of playing the match as well as you can. And with those words of wisdom, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We will see you guys again here tomorrow on the Scorecard, where sports is our business and business is our sport, on the Bilyonaryo News Channel. Once again, this is Erika Kristensen. Have a blessed evening.
Right.